No alarms went off, no sirens, no explosions, no announcements. The world didn't end the way people imagined. You woke up like any other day. Light came through the window, your phone buzzed, your body moved before your thoughts did. Everything worked. That was the first sign. Outside, the street was quiet, not empty, just calm. Cars moved, people walked, traffic lights changed on schedule, too smoothly. You noticed it while making coffee. The news was on. Same anchors, same graphics, same tone. They talked about nothing important. Weather, markets. A celebrity story, already weeks old. Nothing new. You switched channels, different stations, same structure, different faces, same words. You checked the date. It was today. You were sure of it. But the broadcast felt recycled, like reruns pretending to be live. You left your apartment. The elevator arrived immediately. No wait. The doors closed perfectly. No hesitation. On the street, people passed you. They nodded. They smiled. But their expressions didn't linger. Eye contact ended the moment it began, as if connection itself had a time limit. You walked to work. Your route felt shorter. Familiar buildings looked slightly flatter, not damaged, simplified, like details had been removed to save memory. At the office, everyone was already there. No chatter, no complaints. They sat at their desks, working calmly, too calmly. You asked a coworker if they'd seen the news. They nodded. Same as always. You asked what they meant. They paused, then smiled, and returned to their screen. You sat down. Your computer was already on. Your inbox was full, not with new messages, with replies to emails you didn't remember sending. You read one. It referenced a meeting that hadn't happened. Another mentioned a decision you hadn't made. You checked the timestamps, all from yesterday. You stood up. You went to the window. The city moved, but it felt complete, finished, as if nothing else was scheduled. You remembered something then. Yesterday, it had been strange. You had felt a weight in the air, a tension, like everyone was waiting for something. But nothing happened. You went home, you slept, and now here you were, a day that felt like an echo. At lunch, you noticed something unsettling. People ate the same meals, not the same food, the same choices, same gestures, same rhythm. Fork, pause, drink. You listened. Conversations repeated, not word for word, but structurally. Someone complained about traffic. Someone responded with the same reassurance. Different voices, identical timing. You left early. No one asked why. Outside, the sky was clear, too clear. No planes, no birds, just clouds drifting slowly, purposefully. You checked your phone again. Social media was active. People posted, smiled, celebrated. But the comments were strange, generic, supportive, disconnected, like reactions without emotion. You scrolled back. Days ago, weeks, months, the posts stopped changing. Different dates, same content. You refreshed. Nothing new loaded. You opened a messaging app. You typed a message to a friend. They replied instantly. Before you finished typing, "You're okay." That was it. You asked what they meant. No response. You called them. It rang, then went silent. Not disconnected, just silent. You hung up. Your reflection in the black screen stared back. You looked tired, older. You tried the news again. The anchors were still talking. Same segment, same sentences. You checked the clock. An hour had passed, but the broadcast hadn't progressed. You realized something then. Time was moving, but nothing was advancing. You went outside again. You walked further this time. You reached the edge of the neighborhood. Things looked unfinished. Construction sites with no workers, signs pointing nowhere, roads that led back to themselves. You turned around. The city behind you looked intact, complete, like a finished model. You felt a sudden fear. Not panic, recognition. You asked someone the date. They answered correctly. You asked what happened yesterday. They hesitated. Just a fraction. Yesterday was busy. You asked how. They smiled. Important things. You asked what kind. They looked past you. You don't need to worry about that. You noticed how no one asked questions anymore. No one complained. No one expected change. They were satisfied, contained. You remembered news stories, predictions, warnings. You remembered people talking about collapse, about endings, about final moments. But what if the last day wasn't dramatic? What if it was administrative? What if yesterday wasn't destruction, but completion? You went home again. Your apartment felt different, not safer. Finally, you found an old notebook. You flipped through it. Your handwriting changed near the end. The last page read, "Tomorrow won't come the way we think." You didn't remember writing that. You turned on every light. They all worked perfectly. You turned them off. The room didn't get fully dark. A soft ambient glow remained, as if darkness itself had been deprecated. You slept, or tried to. Dreams didn't come. You woke up, same day, same light, same silence. You checked the date, it was today. Again, you went outside. Everything was in the same place, not reset, maintained. You realized then, this wasn't a loop. Loops repeat. This was stasis. Yesterday had been the last real day. The last day where things could change, where decisions mattered, where consequences followed actions. Today was something else. A holding state. A preserved version of reality. Stable, predictable, safe. You wondered where everyone else was. Not physically, mentally, emotionally. You wondered if they had chosen this, if they had agreed, if the world had offered something, an alternative to uncertainty, an ending without loss. You felt alone, not because others were gone, but because you still expected tomorrow. You tested it. You broke something. A glass. It shattered, but the sound was muted. The pieces disappeared moments later. The floor was clean, as if correction systems were in place. You wrote a note. You tore it up. The scraps faded. You tried to leave the city. Trains ran, but they all returned. Different routes, same destination. You stopped trying. You sat down. You watched people pass. They were calm, content. They weren't trapped. They were finished. You felt something else then. Grief. Not for loss, for possibility, for change, for uncertainty. You realized why this version of the world existed. It wasn't punishment, it was mercy. A place where nothing bad happens anymore, because nothing new happens at all. You wondered how long it would last, forever, or until no one noticed? You noticed. That made you incompatible. You felt tired, you sat still, you breathed, you let go of expectation. The city hummed softly. Around you, you felt something ease, not happiness. Acceptance. The thought came quietly. Maybe tomorrow isn't missing. Maybe it was canceled. And maybe yesterday was enough.